So I have been a clinical counselor for about 15 years. I graduated in 2009 from Auburn University and went straight into working with adults and adolescents. And that caused me to have to hear the stories of children who have been severely abused, neglected, hurt in ways that I could not have imagined before I did that work. I think I slowly started hearing God say, you can do more. There's more to be done. You can do more. So it was a pull that I had. And then one day, I got to speak to two beautiful little girls, two little sisters. They were 2 years old and 4 years old. And they told me some stories that were really hard to hear about things that were happening in their homes. And again, the conversation came up after that interview about where they were going to go. There was nowhere for them to go. And I had one of the DHR workers ask me, well, why don't you just take them? And in that moment, I felt like it was God saying, this is the moment. Are you going to say yes, or are you going to say no? And so I talked to my husband, and that is where our yes came in, and we started taking foster care classes. But I think that was the moment that changed everything for our family. So in early May of 2024, I got a phone call from the head of DHR, and it was the DHR that does our foster parent license, and she really was saying, hey, we've got a situation that we've never had before. We have a baby who is at Children's Hospital. She was born with half of a heart, and we don't know who would be able to take care of this child. And she's going to have some medical conditions. She's going to have future surgeries. She was ready to go home from the hospital, but there would be upcoming surgeries that would have to happen when she was about 6 months old. And so I brought it home to my husband, and I told him about her and about what the call was. And a few days later, we were on our way to Children's Hospital to meet Aubriana. And as soon as I walked in the room and I saw this beautiful little girl laying in the bed, my heart just melted. The goal here was for us to foster her with hopes that her biological family would be able to learn how to take care of her, and she may at some point be able to transition back. We didn't know. But after she had been here for not very long at all, a couple weeks, she got really sick one night, and I just noticed that she wasn't breathing right. We packed her up, and she was attached to the monitor, and she was okay within her ranges until we got to Birmingham and we got off the interstate, and her oxygen dropped down into the 60s and then the 50s, and the alarms were going off, and I was pulling into that parking deck as fast as I could. We ran her inside. In just enough time, she was crashing. They could not get her to breathe. It was the scariest moment of my life. She ended up having to be intubated, and she coded. Her heart stopped. They had to bring her back. I remember praying in the waiting room of the ICU, just, God, please save her. A few days after being in the ICU, the doctors came by. They pulled me to the side and they said, Ms. Burgess, we know you're the foster mom, but we need to tell you that her heart's not going to make it as it is. She's going to need a full heart transplant. And they said the issue is we will not give a heart transplant to a child who doesn't have a permanent plan that is sustainable, because it is a lifetime of care. So our question to you before we're able to list her is, are you and your husband willing to adopt Aubriana? Our yes ended up causing a chain event of things to happen. She was listed for a heart transplant, and so then it was just a matter of waiting for the heart. And we waited, and we waited, and we waited. But it is the hardest season that our family has gone through, being separated. We were 2 hours away, but my kids were totally committed to their little sister. I would check on them and ask them, are you okay? And they would say, Mom, we miss you. We want you to come back home, but we want Aubriana to come with you. On September the 18th, I was at the hospital with her, and later that afternoon, we got a phone call that there was a heart. And I felt in that moment God telling me, okay, you finally get it now. Like, this is my story, and you have to let me write it. The surgery went beautifully. Her recovery was miraculous. And so within 2 weeks, we were moved upstairs, and within less than 2 weeks after that, we were discharged to an apartment across the street. And she's thriving now. She's doing beautifully. Aubriana has gone on to become our official legal daughter. She was our daughter the day we met her, but she is now legally Aubriana Louise Burgess as of November 26th. And when I look back, what a beautiful testimony to how sovereign God is, how He took one very flawed family's yes, and He saved a little girl's life. We are so grateful that He allowed us to bear witness